picking a writing app, am I right? It's like, where do you even begin? So many options, so many promises. Today we're going deep on one that's causing a stir. IA Writer.
Yeah, and it's interesting timing, because their latest update, it really makes you think about like what a writing app should be in this world of, feature overload.
It's refreshing, right? This idea of like, hey, remember just writing. But before we all get too zen, things got a little spicy online with this IA Writer 7.0. People had some thoughts.
Especially about a feature, authorship. And this is where it gets cool. It's dealing with AI, but not how you'd think.
Yeah, this isn't your AI writes your novel thing. This is more like, let's say you're stuck on a sentence, you ask ChatGPT to rephrase it. What IA Writer does...
It marks that text visually. Anything you paste in from somewhere else. It's like this little, just so you know, these exact words, not originally yours.
And the forum, Blue or P. Some people, like Brookter, were like, if I pasted it, I know I pasted it, what's the point?
Right. Like for some writers, it's redundant. But then you have Andrew Hansen who's saying, in a world of AI writing tools, this is IA Writer drawing a line, saying authorship matters.
It's that whole who really wrote this question, right? Uncharted territory.
Totally. Some users are even using it like as a plagiarism checker, which is wild. Vince Nardelli was saying they paste AI revised text to compare, kind of like those plagiarism tools that highlight stuff.
So it's like transparency, especially if you collaborate or you're like really worried about accidental plagiarism, which, let's be real, is huge E for some writers.
Absolutely. It's all how each writer wants to use it.
Yeah.
But this whole thing also highlights some underlying frustration.
Oh yeah, Vince Nardelli again. Not shy about missing features, even with this big update.
Yeah, things like not being able to set goals across all versions of the app, or like a truly customizable editor. These are pain points that 7.0 didn't fix.
It's like, thanks for the new doorknob, but the sink's still leaking?
Perfect analogy. But shifting gears from the update drama, let's talk about what IA Writer is known for. There's a reason it's got such a following, right?
Okay, so unpack this for me. There's this review, IA Writer Review. Is it worth it? 2024. And it seems like they're going for a specific kind of writer, not trying to please everybody.
Totally. And that's key EY to IA Writer's whole deal. The review calls it out. Short-form writers, bloggers, people who love a distraction-free zone. Imagine a writing space stripped down. That's IA Writer.
And even the price reflects that. Yeah.
100%. One-time purchase, like $30. In the age of subscription, everything. That's huge EE, especially for writers on a budget.
Right, makes sense. Okay, but brass tacks, what are these magical features supposed to do for me?
So besides the whole minimalist vibe, which, let's be honest, is refreshing on its own, it's all about Markdown. It's like this elegant, minimalist language for formatting.
Okay, you're going to have to break that down for me. I'm still stuck on bolding things.
So picture this. You're writing a blog post. You want italics, you want a heading, whatever. Markdown. You just do it. Keystrokes, no menus, no breaking your flow.
Okay, I'm seeing the appeal here. No more like menu hunting expeditions.
Exactly. And because Markdown's like the web's language, publishing to WordPress, super smooth. The review also loves this thing. File transclusion, sounds fancy, actually super handy.
Hit me with it.
It's like embed images, videos, even other documents right into your draft. No more tab overload, no clunky uploads. It's all right there.
So it's like streamlined, just like the whole writing experience they're going for.
100%. Zen-like focus, remember. But remember those limitations we mentioned. Review says the document library, fine for short stuff, not ideal for huge projects.
So maybe not the best for your epic fantasy series.
Unless you really like a challenge, not having a way to manage, like chapters, notes, all that, could be a deal breaker.
Gotcha. Minimalists dream, novelists maybe not. Speaking of minimalist, there's this other article, IA Writer, A Quiet Place to Write. It's like the philosophy behind it all.
And this is where it gets really cool, right? It's almost like a love letter to IA Writer, this whole journey of finding peace in simplicity.
Really?
Super relatable if you've ever felt like tech overwhelm.
Okay, I'm listening. I love a good story.
So the author, Timothy Butler, he's talking about how he's tried every word processor under the sun, WordPerfect, Microsoft Word, even Pages, always comes back to IA Writer.
And what is it about IA Writer that keeps pulling him back in? Like, what's the secret sauce?
For him, it gets out of the way. He says the interface is almost invisible, like writing on paper, but digital.
That's a powerful image. It's that distraction-free thing again, right?
Exactly. He even calls IA Writer a scalpel. Precise, focused, and like we said, huge Markdown fan. keeps him in the flow.
Speaking of flow, he also seems to like how IA Writer handles actually getting your work OUT there, right?
You got it. Raves about how it works with WordPress. Again, Markdown. Universal language, we've established this.
It's like IA Writer speaks fluent internet, makes that jump from writing to publishing so much smoother.
Precisely. But here's another thing Butler highlights. It's huge nowadays. Cross-platform syncing. You can be on your computer, your tablet, your phone, pick up right where you left off.
Okay, in our world of a million devices, that's a game changer for sure.
No question. But what I find interesting is how Butler connects this to, like, security. He likes that his files are either local or in a synced cloud that HE controls, not some big company.
That's a good point. In a world of data harvesting, having control is appealing.
Right. And interestingly, he talks about the AI thing, authorship, but from this, like, thoughtful angle.
Oh, yeah. Remind me, how does he feel about IA Writer's AI approach?
He's a little skeptical, but in a good way. Like, he gets that visually marking pasted AI stuff. It's different.
Ooh, I like that. Starting a conversation, not about right or wrong, but navigating this new world thoughtfully.
Exactly. And I think that leads perfectly into our big question. Should you use IA Writer? Is this the app you've been waiting for?
The million-dollar question.
It is. And as always, it's not one size fits all.
Yeah.
But we've got a lot to unpack to figure out if IA Writer is your jam.
So, no spoilers or anything, but like, if I'm someone who loves features, the more the merrier. Is IA Writer going to cut it?
You know, probably not. But that's not a bad thing, right? It's not trying to be everything to everyone. It's about that minimalist philosophy we talked about. Like, that extends to the features too. So complex outlining, tons of formatting, you'll probably feel limited.
So who is this for then? Who's going to open this app up and be like, this is IT?
And that's what's so interesting, right? It's like, if you're the kind of writer who likes simplicity, a blank page is exciting, IA Writer might just be your new best friend. That focus, being in the zone, that's what this app is built for.
It's like that new notebook feeling, you know? Just you and the words.
Exactly. And those strengths from the review. Bloggers, article writers, people who want a clean space for notes, those are the IA Writer fans.
And for anyone living that multi-device life, that syncing is huge.
Totally. But what's really cool about IA Writer, both our sources touched on this, is how they're dealing with AI.
Yeah, definitely not your typical AI writing tool, not trying to replace you.
Right. It's more like holding up a mirror, making us think about what it means to create when AI can write so easily.
Almost like a philosophical debate for writers.
Exactly. Is authorship the future or a fad? Up to you. But it's pushing buttons, getting people talking.
Love that. Okay, so to wrap it up, IA Writer won't be for everyone, but it's found its niche.
Definitely. Proves that sometimes stripping away complexity, focusing on the essentials, that's powerful. Especially now, right, with so many distractions.
Well said. And on that note, what does your ideal writing space look like? Feature-packed, minimalist haven, food for thought. Okay, so we've got the minimalist soul of IA Writer, the authorship thing, that one-time price. But for someone listening, trying to decide, is this app for me? Like, what are the big takeaways?
It's funny, right? IA Writer doesn't make it easy to just say yes or no. It's like it wants you to figure out what kind of writer you are.
I like that. A writing app that makes you think. But get specific. What if I like the minimalist idea, but I don't want to be limited?
And this is where those user comments are so interesting. If you really connect with that distraction-free thing, like a blank page is exciting, IA Writer might be it.
But not for writing like the next Game of Thrones, right? We know that.
Exactly. Those limitations for big projects, those are real. But think about, like, blog posts you've been meaning to write, articles you've been putting off. IA Writer, that's its sweet spot. And Markdown, once you get it, super freeing, especially if you just want to write, not fight with formatting.
Like it streamlines the whole thing, from typing to publish.
Totally. And the cross-platform syncing. Huge. If you're on the go, switching devices, game changer.
No more emailing drafts to yourself or like, where did I save that? It's just there, right?
But you know what's really interesting about IA Writer, and we haven't even touched on this, is what it could mean for writing in general. That authorship thing, love it or hate it, it makes us think about AI and creativity in a new way.
It's sparking something, right? Writers asking, okay, if AI helps me write, what does that make me? Is that okay?
Yes. And that conversation is only going to get bigger as AI gets more, integrated, not just writing, everything creative.
So it's more than an app, it's like starting a conversation. I like that.
And shouldn't a good tool do that? Make you think differently, challenge you a little.
100%. So there you have it. We've gone deep on IA Writer. Minimalist, thought-provoking, and maybe even a little bit controversial. Now it's your turn. What stood out to you? What piqued your interest? Go explore. See if IA Writer is that missing piece in your writing life.